Look, I hate to break it to you, but your so-called dream job is really just an MLM where the actual product is your youth. And the only person getting rich is a CEO who doesn't even know your name. I know, it's a hard pill to swallow, especially after you spent 4 years and 6 figures on a degree just to land a seat in a glass building with free kombucha. But let's actually look at the math, because the math doesn't lie, even when your HR department does. We've been conditioned to believe in hustle culture, right? But I'm calling it what it actually is. Corporate gaslighting. They tell you to grind now, play later. Well, they pocket every cent of the surplus value from every hour you spend away from your family. You're stuck in the income ceiling trap, trading 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours of your finite life every single week for a fixed salary that barely moves. Meanwhile, the real world is getting more expensive by the second. If you're celebrating a 3% annual raise while inflation is sitting at 6 or 7%, I hate to tell you, but you didn't get a promotion. You actually got a 4% pay cut wrapped in a good job email. You see, you are the inventory in their business model, okay? You're just an entry-level distributor at the bottom of a very tall pyramid, sold on the dream of one day making it to the top. Well, the system is literally designed to keep you exactly where you are. Productive, tired, and just wealthy enough to keep coming back on Monday. But look, I'm not here to just ruin your morning. Actually, I'm here to show you the exit. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to stop being a victim of the corporate pyramid and start being a shareholder of your own life. We're breaking the ceiling, and we're starting right now. So, I see you posting your day in the life vlogs, acting like that $85,000 salary is some kind of flex. But we need to have a serious talk about the math they conveniently didn't teach you in your MBA program, right? You think you're making $40 an hour? That's cute. Honestly, let's do a real-time audit, because this corporate version of girl bossing you're doing, it's often just a high-end scam. First off, Uncle Sam takes his 25% cut before you even see a dime. Then, we have to look at your professional overhead. That $15 daily sweet green salad you buy because you're too exhausted to meal prep, that's 1 full hour of your life gone. That $60 bottle of wine you open on a Tuesday night just to drown out the sound of your Slack notifications, that's 2 more hours. Throw in the commute, the professional wardrobe you only wear to please people you don't even like, and those mental health days spent just recovering from the Sunday scaries. When I actually crunch the numbers, your $40 an hour is actually closer to $18. You're essentially working for 2010's retail wages while carrying the stress of a C-suite executive. This brings us to the labor-to-capital ratio. And honestly, it's the exact trap designed to keep you stuck. In this corporate MLM, you are selling a finite, depreciating resource, your hours. You only have 24 of them, and you're already selling the best ones to someone else. True wealth isn't about how hard you can type or how many synced up meetings you can attend. It's about using capital to buy assets. In a wealth system, your money makes money. In your current system, you are the battery. If your income stops the second your fingers leave the keyboard, you aren't a high-earning professional. You're a cog in a machine that is literally designed to rust out and be replaced by a newer, cheaper model the second you burn out. But the math gets even darker when we look at how they reinvest your productivity back into their own pockets while giving you the crumbs. If you think your 3% merit increase is a win while inflation is at 6%, you're not just losing the game. You're paying for the privilege to play it. And honestly, that's not even the most insulting part of the contract you signed. Because while you're calculating your hourly rate, the people at the top, they're calculating something else entirely. Something that makes your $18 an hour look like a rounding error. Look, I'm not here to give you a warm hug and tell you it'll all be okay if you just work hard, right? I mean, that's the lie they fed us in college while they happily collected our tuition. If you want to stop being the downline in this corporate MLM, you have to start acting like the very system that's currently bleeding you dry. Step 1, you're implementing your own wealth tax. You need to become your own internal government. I'm talking about automatically diverting 20% of every single paycheck into a low-cost S&P 500 ETF, something like VOO. And I mean before you even see it, because if that money hits your bank account, well, you've already lost. You'll just spend it on a $7 latte or some targeted Instagram ad designed to numb the pain of your 9 to 5. That 20%, those are your financial soldiers. They're the only employees you'll ever have who actually work 24/7. They don't need coffee breaks. They don't need a work-life balance talk. And they definitely don't take mental health days just because the Slack notifications are getting too loud. They just sit there and compound while you sleep. You know, actually building the freedom you claim to want. But let's be real. Investing your crumbs isn't enough if the loaf is getting smaller. You need to build a skill moat. I see so many of you spending 40 hours a week becoming experts in your company's specific outdated workflow. Congratulations. You're now indispensable to a company that would replace you in a heartbeat if the stock price dipped even 3 cents. Stop learning things that only make your boss richer. I want you to spend 5 hours a week. That's just 1 hour a day, right? On a high-income skill that you own. Think AI implementation or media buying. If you don't own the skill, you don't own the leverage. And in this economy, if you don't have leverage, you're just a line item waiting to be deleted. You might think your senior manager title is a shield, but it's actually a target. Because there's one specific trick the C-suite uses to make sure you never actually use that wealth tax to escape. It's a psychological trap so effective, you probably think it's a reward.
Oh, you finally got it, right? That senior associate title you spent 3 whole years begging for, along with a shiny 10% raise. And what was the very first thing you did? I mean, you told yourself you finally deserved a lifestyle that matched that new business card, didn't you? You swapped your perfectly fine studio for a grown-up luxury apartment with a $3,500 rent check, because you're a professional now, right? You traded a perfectly good, paid-off car for a leased German SUV because appearances matter in your industry. Or so they told you. Congratulations. You just fell for the oldest trick in the corporate playbook. You're literally paying a premium to look like the person your boss wants you to be while becoming more of a prisoner to your desk than ever before. Let's look at a simulation of 2 women sitting in the exact same office. First, we have corporate Kathy. Kathy is the star employee. Every time she gets a promotion, she levels up. You know, better clothes, a Peloton she never uses, and a zip code that screams, "I've made it." To the outside world, Kathy is winning. But behind the scenes, Kathy is exhausted. She's trapped in a cycle where her expenses rise exactly as fast as her income. She's not building wealth. She's just funding a high-end lifestyle for her landlord and her creditors. Then, there's wealthy Wendy. Wendy got the same promotions and the same raises. But Wendy is a glitch in the system. She still drives her 10-year-old Toyota. She still lives in the same apartment she had at 25. She doesn't have the status symbols. And her coworkers probably wonder if she's struggling. But Wendy isn't struggling, she's colonizing her future.
Every single dollar from those raises went straight into the market, into index funds and dividend-paying assets. Fast forward to age 35. A restructuring memo hits everyone's inbox on a Tuesday morning. Kathy is having a full-blown panic attack in the break room because she is exactly 2 missed paychecks away from using the SUV and the grown-up apartment. She has zero leverage, which means she has to beg for her job or take whatever soul-crushing role they offer her next. Wendy doesn't even look up from a coffee. Her dividends already cover her basic living expenses. To her, a layoff isn't a catastrophe. It's a mandatory sabbatical. She doesn't need the job because she spent the last decade buying her food instead of buying a fake image of success. See, corporate ladder isn't designed to have you climb the door. It's designed to keep you heavy amount of debt and lifestyle obligations that you can't afford to jump on. You can't pension so badly that you told England on corporate nonsense. You have the discipline of really one track they set. It's not that go income that you can do if you're thinking about doing that. It's deeper in the banking package.
See, the corporate world doesn't want you to be wealthy. It wants you to be comfortable enough to never leave, but exhausted enough to never compete. Because let's be honest, exhausted people don't look for exits. They just look for the next caffeine hit or a weekend getaway they can't even afford. I want you to stop pursuing a career and start exploiting a revenue stream. From this moment on, I need you to demote your job. In your mind, that 9 to 5 isn't your identity anymore, right? It's just a secondary income stream. Your assets, they're the main character now. Your boss isn't your mentor. I mean, they're just the person signing the checks that fund your real business, your freedom. You need to start your own wealth tax today. No excuses. I'm talking about a non-negotiable 20% diversion of every single dollar that hits your bank account. That money isn't for a new wardrobe to look the part, or a luxury SUV just to survive the commute. That 20% is the ransom money for your soul. If you aren't hitting that 20% mark, you aren't building a life. You're just paying for the privilege of being tired. Look, the corporate world wants you broke, dependent, and gaslit into thinking a pizza party is a bonus. But now you have the playbook. You aren't quitting your job yet. You're just checking out of the cult. You're building a life you don't need a vacation from, where your bank account grows while you sleep, not while you're stuck in another sync meeting that should have been an email. If you're ready to stop being a victim of the income ceiling, and you're tired of the corporate branding lies, subscribe to Money Blueprint. I'm here to make sure you are the one who wins, not your HR department. Comment the word soldier below if you're starting your 20% diversion today. I'll see you on the other side of the ceiling.